The role of the Ottoman Empire in Europe and the diplomacy around it, the Eastern Question, led to two Balkan Wars and ultimately the outbreak of World War I. The Ottoman Empire at its height encompassed the Balkans, Asia Minor, Arabia, and Northern Africa. Most of the people in the Balkans are South Slavic. Slavic is a classification based on a common ancestral language spanning Eastern Europe. The formation of the Balkan states began in 1821 with the Greek Revolution. Later in the Russo-Turkish War of 1828-29, Nicholas I succeeded in winning Serbia autonomy. In 1875, Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Bulgaria revolted against the Ottomans, who brutally suppressed the revolts. Russia, taking up the mantle of protector of the Balkans, entered into the Russo-Turkish War of 1877-78, and on March 3rd negotiated for a large Bulgarian state. However, Austria, worried about a Slav settlement to the Eastern Question, pressured Russia into renegotiating the treaty. In July of 1878, they agreed on reducing the size of Bulgaria and giving them autonomy within the Ottoman Empire, as well as giving Romania, Serbia, and Montenegro independence. Finally, in 1908, Austria annexed Bosnia and Herzegovina, creating all the Balkan states before the First Balkan War. The Balkan League was an alliance between Bulgaria, Serbia, Greece, and Montenegro, created in 1911 and 1912. Greece was the first country to propose an alliance, being fed up with the Turkish government's boycott of Greek goods and their assassinations in Macedonia. In April 1911, they sent a request to Bulgaria to defend Christians in Macedonia and enter into a defensive alliance. However, Bulgaria's Prime Minister Gushchev wished to avoid provocation against Turkey and made no response. Turkish abuses in Macedonia, the procrastination of the Turkish government to connect Bulgaria's and Turkey's rail system, and the outbreak of the Turco-Italian War empowered Gushchev to create alliances against Turkey. Bulgaria first tried to secure an alliance with Serbia for their military strength and knew that Serbia had wanted for many years to secure Old Serbia. Rizov and Theodorf, Bulgarian ministers, met with Milovanovic, Serbia's prime minister, at the outbreak of the Turco-Italian War and agreed for Gushchev and Milovanovic to meet. In December 1911, definite negotiations were being held in Sofia, Bulgaria's capital, by Dr. Spljekovic representing Serbia and Dr. Dinov and King Ferdinand representing Bulgaria. On February 29th and March 13th, 1912, the treaty was signed and had terms of mutual defense and a secret annex that divided up land in a successful war against Turkey. In the last week of February 1912, Bulgaria began negotiations with Greece. Greece was represented by Panos, a Greek minister in Sofia who spoke for Venizelos, the Greek prime minister. There was no time for delay for the treaty, so instead of arguing for territory, they decided to omit all territorial understandings and signed the treaty on May 29, 1912. The treaty agreed to aid each other if Turkey invaded either country or violated their rights. Finally, in April of 1912, Rizov, Theodorf, and Dinov met with the Prime Minister of Montenegro in Vienna, and an agreement was quickly reached, though no formal agreement was signed. Soon after, an agreement with Greece was reached as well. Finally, an agreement between Serbia and Montenegro was reached in late May of 1912, finishing the creation of the Balkan League. Late September 1912, Turkey held military maneuvers in Adrianople, provoking the Balkan League to mobilize on September 30th and Turkey on October 1st. On October 4th, the European powers decided to allow Russia and Austria to represent Europe and stop the outbreak of war. Austria accepted this plan with the conditions of maintaining the Balkan status quo and the plans of the European powers not be told to Turkey. On October 8, 1912, the note was delivered to the Balkan capitals and stated that the European powers would not permit a breach of peace, help with Macedonian reforms, and if war broke out, they would not permit a change in the status quo. Hours before it was presented to Montenegro, war was declared on the Ottoman Empire. On October 10th, the note reached Constantinople and demanded reforms in Macedonia. On October 13th, the rest of the Balkan League responded to the note, thanking the powers for their action, but that they preferred to deal directly with Turkey. On October 14th, the Turkish government replied to the note, saying that the reforms in the Balkans had already been recognized, and they expected to apply them without foreign interference. They said that the attempts before have failed due to the Balkan states, and they are grateful for the European powers' intention, but they should not interfere. Bulgaria also delivered its peace terms, which included the autonomy of the three Macedonian provinces, elective provincial assemblies, free education, and a police force. Unable to reach a peaceful solution, on October 17th, Bulgaria, Serbia, and Greece declared war on Turkey, setting off the First Balkan War. An armistice was signed on December 3rd, 1912, and the warring nations, including Greece, who ultimately did not sign the armistice, met in London on December 12th. The Balkan League demanded indemnity and the cession of all European territories west of Media to Rodsta, excluding Albania and Constantinople. The Ottomans were unwilling to give up Adrianople, but on January 22, 1913, Kamil Pasha, an Ottoman statesman, agreed to give up the province and agreed to the terms. However, on the following day, a coup d'etat led by Enver Bey overthrew the government and the negotiations stopped, with hostilities restarting on February 3rd. On March 22, 1913, the European powers proposed a new treaty which included the lines be drawn between Enos and Media, with Turkey ceding all territories west of that line except Albania. The Aegean Islands be decided by the powers. Turkey abandoned all claims to Crete and all fighting stopped on the signing. On March 22nd, Bulgaria, with the help of the Serbs, captured Adrianople, which forced the Ottomans into negotiations. The Turks agreed to the stipulations, but the Balkan League wanted the Aegean Islands ceded directly to them. It wasn't until April 20th that the Balkan states agreed to the mediation of the European powers. The creation of an Albanian state was the design of Italy and Austria, who were determined to keep Serbia out of the Adriatic Sea. Albania's status was promoted to fully independent, causing Serbia to lose its claim on that territory. Bulgaria, however, was now the largest country in the Balkans, but was now weak due to its sacrifice. Serbia now argued that it should have the primary claim on Macedonia because they were forced out of Albania. On May 20th, the Balkan delegates and European representatives met in London for the Second Peace Conference. When they arrived, they found a treaty embodying the original terms, but the Balkan delegates were hesitant. The chairman, Sir Edward Grey, told them that they either could sign or get out. The terms included Turkey ceding west of the Enos-Media line, as well as Crete, the creation of the Albania in the Aegean Islands directly to be determined by the European powers. Serbia, feeling cheated, and Greece wanting more territory, created a secret alliance to take territory in West Macedonia and to aid each other in war. They also gained the support of Montenegro and Romania. Russia tried to mediate, but it fell through. The Habsburgs, talking with Greece and Romania, left Bulgaria without allies, and so overestimating themselves, launched a sneak attack on Serbia and Greece on June 29th and started the Second Balkan War. Bulgaria was easily bested by the combined efforts of the Balkans and the Ottomans, and the war only lasted about a month. Once the war had ended, Austria became extremely nervous due to the gains of Serbia during the two wars. Some Serbian nationalists living in Bosnia under Austro-Hungarian control were desperate to be reunited with Serbia. Some of these Serbians assassinated Archduke Ferdinand of Austria, and Austria demanded revenge on Serbia. All of these factors led to the outbreak of the First World War.